Welcome to the Parkland Report. My name is Seamus Reilly. Joining me today, Dr. Tom Caulfield, Director of Student Life here at Parkland College. Tom, welcome to the Parkland Report.
Thank you. Thank you,
It's
Seamus.
great to have you here. Tell me a little bit about what you do in student life really quickly and some of the activities that are going on here.
Well, student life's a pretty diverse area. We handle, obviously, all the activities and programs that are put on here at the college. Our office also deals with transportation, housing, leadership development, things like that.
One of the main sort of things you've been focusing on for the last couple of years is working directly with our Latino population. Mm-hmm. And you've been doing this for a while, so can you tell me a little bit about how you got started in working with this population?
Yes, we hired a consultant years ago to really understand what's going on with, particularly with males in college. We discovered that there was starting to become a separation in graduation rates between males and females. Once the microscope went down a little further, we discovered subpopulations within those males that were particularly low on the persistence levels. In fact, within our district, the Latino males were the lowest persisting group. That caused us to plug in pretty quickly and start a pilot program for about 8 of those students to really see how we could help them out. We discovered pretty quickly we could through some very intrusive mechanisms of mentoring and things like that.
So you work directly with staff and folks in your office, but also with some faculty members?
Yes, and also community members, which was a key element. We brought in some family structures where we had, for example, a Latino family day here at the college. At the end of that year, we realized that low persistence rates were what the baseline was for what we were studying, but we pretty much doubled that persistence rate, and we were very happy about that. Now, that was a small population. We then, in the second year, extended it to both men and women because females, the Latina females, were maybe about 4% higher in their persistence rates. The men were the lowest group that we were studying. So then we studied 35 students in the second year and achieved similar persistence rates, which were about 25% higher than the baseline data.
It was interesting, though, the focus on the family in terms of attraction of students is very important to the Latino population.
I learned that myself very quickly. The parents and the grandparents come in tow, and very family friendly, and a very gracious group of people to work with, very thankful to come here to the college, and we enjoyed those events. They live on in my memory as a really exciting days for us.
So, you know, one of the things we're working on at Parkland right now is the Ideas sort of a project, which is an opportunity for faculty and staff in the college to come up with a creative, innovative idea that will work, that's been documented to work, that will help with those persistence, completion, retention goals that we have moving forward. So you, building upon your work already with this Latino population, came up with an example of something that might work for this particular project.
Well, we got lucky, Seamus. It was clear to me that we had some pilot work that was done. We even had another year after that, and actually a second year part of that. So we felt that all we really needed to do was document our results and talk about some new plans and initiatives. That was a competitive process, so we really felt that we had to spend some time and really work very hard on that. We got the right people involved here at the college. We have a gentleman that writes for us from the grant writing office. And so we were giving him the data and having him plug it in. Then we have some counselors and advisors that added to that. And a prominent faculty member here at the college, Charles Arenas, is very active within the Latina community. All in all, we were fortunate to receive an Ideas grant funding, and it worked out well. Yeah.
So let's talk specifically about what you're hoping to do with this project, and then how you think it might grow in the future for us.
What we hope to do specifically is hire 2 program assistants. Those would be part-time hourly folks. They would be responsible for tracking our mentors, who will be the people that will be working directly with what they call mentees. Those are the new folks at the college. And those people will all be trained. The mentors will be paid student assistant positions, and the program assistants will be, as I mentioned, part-time hourly. Our budget is pretty healthy for this. We received about $53,000, and we're very excited about that because we need that to really help out with these persistence rates. From a business point of view, this is an idea that makes a lot of sense to us, you know, and we persuaded the college to think that as well. Clearly, the Latina population is the fastest growing population in the country, and we know that their rates are pretty remarkable here at Parkland College. For example, the first year for the Club Latino here, there was 10 students. When we started to get involved with them, they grew from 10 to 50 in 1 year. And so it's very evident, and this is a very gracious group of people to work with. If there's anything that we're trying to control so much is they like to get out as a group and take on too many jobs. And in so doing, we worry about their academic progress. It's not uncommon to see folks within the group that we're working with try 30 hours of solid work and a full-time load here. We try to dissuade them from doing that, but there obviously are some financial hurdles they're trying to overcome.
Sure, and typical for many of our students here at Parkland who are
Absolutely.
working more and more. The specific sort of aspects of the mentoring piece, you know, it's been pretty well proven that intrusive mentoring and intrusive advising for students has a significant impact upon their ability to stay in school. It's not necessarily directly sort of educational advising so much as sort of a support mechanism, a way for the student to feel connected to something. Something that has been sort of pointed out in national research done on the SESI data, which show that what students really feel they need more is sort of support systems to help them achieve their goals. What kinds of conversations are you seeing between mentors and mentees? What are mentors reporting back when they interact with the students?
Yeah, you know, in the early days, because we've changed a lot with some of our existing programs, and we're really connected to the Latina community now. In the early days, the articulation was, I kind of walk around Parkland and I feel like I'm one of the few Latina folks on campus. That has changed dramatically. This concept of what do mentors and mentees talk about, to hone in on what I think you're getting at here is there has to be a base community that's established. And that is established through the club. We know that. They're interactive with the U of I as well in their Latino and Latina efforts over there. So some of them are in the transfer game, and so they know if they're connected over there, then they can have a better go of it when they get there. So that's part of it. The other part of it is it becomes informal pretty fast, and it doesn't become such a grueling session on a paper chase. Example, hey, did you know that we have a soccer team that we play? It's co-ed. We play out at Soccer Planet. Here's when we play. And by the way, the families all come, and we kind of hang out, and then we go out to eat afterwards. Those types of things. Oh, did you know that we're also all going together to the Valentine's Day dance in February? There's about 40 of us going. You know, those types of connections. I think that builds a feeling of, yeah, this really is a college experience versus what can happen to some, and probably happens to many students, start working a lot, going to school, and it's just that interchange. And you really kind of go away from it and you say to yourself, you know, I didn't really feel like I was engaged in that community. Probably the best aspect, though, with the mentors and the mentees is the mentors have been through this. They're experienced, they're plugged in, they know the system, and they can help that new person, because you can get lost pretty fast if you don't ask questions or have that person to rely on.
Well, we know that peer mentoring is an incredibly effective mechanism for engaging students, because obviously there's it's much less of a sort of a hierarchy there, so there's a much more of a comfort level. But it's interesting to me in watching and obviously connected with the soccer team here at Parkland College, which has been a huge influence in terms of engaging Latino population. The engagement of the students also in our regular student life processes. Many of our Latina students have gotten involved in activities in student life government, and that's been, I think, good, because it's they serve as role models for other students?
Thanks for saying that. And you know, I kind of just go with the flow sometimes, but we got on an escalation pretty quickly where we started to notice this. For example, in one semester, just to put it on almost an empirical level, both the student trustee and the college student government president were both Latina folks. They became very influential, you know, in talking to others about what they could do in the future, and that's still going on, and we're happy about that. The current student government president, for example, is also a Latina female, and so it's just kind of rolling, and I guess maybe we've somewhat gotten used to that, and but great for them because it really departs dramatically from the old days where you felt like you were the only person around here as you kind of went from class to work, and that was it.
Well, obviously you've seen significant impact on the Latina population here at Parkland College, and the numbers are, of course, we have more Latina people who are on our campus because the population in Champaign County has grown significantly. Two questions about this. One, do you see the potential for this to expand and impact more students in the Latino population? And also, are there lessons to be learned for other groups on campus who might also be served by a type of program?
Yeah, what we're trying to do with this grant is get a kind of a template down that can be replicated by other groups pursuing things. And we really believe that for first generation college students that this model can be replicated. What's been very elusive for us, and we know the economy has something to do with it, is this whole concept of work-school balance, because we've seen some very unique things. We've actually seen some people withdrawing from a few classes just to make a better go of it because they're so tilted on the work experience. I think we're trying to counter this semester on a winter day. I guess it would make more sense to me if we can provide student employment here versus going somewhere else and coming back and trying to work that in. So we're trying a number of different things, but you know, back to what we can do for others, we're hoping that people will latch onto our data and our reports and try to apply some of our work to their groups.
Well, it's an exciting project. Thank you very much for coming in here today to talk to us about it, and we look forward to hearing more about it in the future.
Well, thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this short break.
Get the ball rolling to a new career with an Eastern Illinois University degree at Parkland College.
Parkland and Eastern really made it work for me.
Now I'm taking Eastern classes on Parkland's campus.
I'm working on my bachelor's degree from Eastern without commuting.
Thanks to Parkland and Eastern, I'm reaching my goals.
For more on Eastern at Parkland, call 217-351-2543.
Catch live, play-by-play coverage of Parkland sports. Live the action live. CobraSports.net.
Joining me in this section of Parkland Report, Pam Lau, Dean of Academic Services, and Misty Belly, Math Instructor, Psych 109 Instructor, and all-around coordinator and extraordinaire for our Together We Achieve program here at Parkland College. Welcome to the Parkland Report. Pam, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about the Together We Achieve program and the work that we're doing here at the college?
So Together We Achieve is a program that we have that focuses on college success for black male students who are in their first year at Parkland College. This basically is what we call a learning community. Students take about 4 classes together. They have very talented and dedicated faculty. And we also have a team of faculty and staff and advisors that give that what we call support, intrusive support, to make sure that the young men stay on track. And then through this community, we see that not only do they have good leadership help from the faculty and staff, we see what I call the bonds of community grow among the students, so that we have that whole sense of brothers supporting brothers and pulling each other along and helping each other stay on track. So that's kind of in a nutshell what Together We Achieve is.
So, Misty, I mean, we've a focus here on specific populations, and the African-American male population is one that we're particularly concerned with. I mean, the national data show that we have not done a great job in the tertiary level of education in ensuring success. Talk a little bit for me, just briefly, about your own experience as a student in third-level education, coming out of a secondary education in the Chicago area.
Most definitely. When I entered into my post-secondary experience, I found myself not really prepared, found myself needing a lot of support, a lot of help, and just the reality of it, I really wasn't college ready. You know, no indictment to secondary education, but it's just that I really needed a lot more support than probably the average student to succeed, you know, on the secondary level.
Particularly for African-American males, I think a lot of times they're coming in maybe cognizant of that themselves, feeling underprepared, but then also feeling like there's not a really great support network. Part of what you're engaged with the population, I think, is to try to provide some of that support and the intrusive advising and mentoring. Talk a little bit about how you engage the students initially, those first conversations that you have with them.
Well, honestly, I really don't think that they're aware of it. I don't think they're aware of it until actually reality hits. And so when you get your grades, when you encounter certain situations, that's really when the reality hits. There are so many distractions that come along with African Americans, particularly males, in post-secondary education, that they're not, you know, aware of some of the obstacles that they're going to encounter when they come here. Why? Because when they're in you know, secondary education, that it's really exciting and the next level to go to college, and they're really focused on, you know, the network, the partying, the, you know, a new experience. And so when they come here, you know, they're almost, you know, blind to the fact that, you know, these are the things that I need to do. And unfortunately, they're not trained to do them. So for example, proper study skills, you know, how to manage your time, you know, how to balance, you know, professional, academic, and work, and things like that if you're in that particular situation. And so knowing that, what I try to do is expose them to these types of conversations and dialogues early on, so that they're aware of it and so that they can put the proper plan or contingency plan in place so that they don't fall into the gap.
I think most college students entering, it's sort of a shock to the system. This is like they have a lot of freedom, a lot more freedom than they're used to having.
Most definitely.
But they don't have any sort of a framework necessarily to understand it. And if they don't have some, like you said, basic sort of skills, study skills, understanding how the system works, understanding how to navigate it, it can become confusing. Pam, one of the things that you've worked very hard on here in our Center for Academic Success, I beg your pardon, is working to create those sort of structures and frameworks and learning communities as a way to begin to, you know, guarantee success or make it more sort of make it easier for students to succeed in math and English in particular.
Right. We have found that putting students in learning communities a very helpful way for students to find peers that have the same aspirations as they have, and to form networks. Because many of our students come from outside of Champaign-Urbana. They don't know anyone. When they come to Parkland, it can be a lonely and frightening experience, so that when they are together in classes and there is support within the classroom and outside of the classroom, we find that students, we give students the tools to empower them to move along the journey to success. Because students don't come to us with those things sort of innate. We expect them sometimes, and sometimes we say, well, they should know better. That if we tell them to do homework, that therefore they will get the homework done with the most effort and on time. Well, students have many other things they need to do. Many of our students work. And then when they're not working, many of them have not internalized this time management structure within themselves. So unstructured time is not always put properly into the academic work. And so part of what we try to do in learning communities, TWA for one, we have other learning communities, we're trying to see how we can help the students develop structure. I think that, I've said it in another context, that in real estate we always say, you know, how do you sell your property? It's location, location, location. For success at college, it is structure, structure, structure. And if the students don't come with internal structures, then part of our responsibility is to help them develop these structures. And I think that's what Misty does in a very good way. He always tells them, I'm in your face. I'm in your business, right? Because not because he's just a busybody, but helping them to develop some of those tools that they don't have within themselves. And I think it's wonderful to see how when the young men learn these things and they taste success. I think success, it's like a drug, that you really want more of it when you have tasted it for the first time. And I think that's part of that magic.
So Misty, I know that one of the things you do, very intrusive advising, the students talk about it, hey, you know, this person is really asking me what's going on, is paying attention, is contacting me all the time, which I think the students see as a validation of themselves, right? I mean, hey, this person cares cares about me, they see value in me. But the 360-degree sort of scenario that you've set up for our students is both in terms of, like, I've got somebody who's in a position of control as a teacher and instructor who cares about me and is involved in my life. But I also have other mentors who are here who are not necessarily my peers. They may be my peers, but they're not my peers necessarily, but who have gone through the same journey or maybe a few steps ahead. That's part of the support structure you've got. That sort of socialization of your educational journey is very important to the success.
Yes, it really is. I think one of the most important things that we have to understand, particularly with African American men, we face a lot of challenges, and a lot of them come to post-secondary, to the post-secondary experience, experiencing a lot of failure already. And so what they need to see is themselves. They need to see someone that looks like them. And so that's one of the things that, you know, I'm very successful in, with letting them know that, hey, you know, I've experienced what you've experienced, I've went through what you've went through, but understand you can overcome it, you can rise above it, you can succeed, you can be someone, you know, and not only that, we try to give them a taste of the real world by balancing that out, that, you know, just, you know, because you see someone that looks like you and you connect to and you have a good rapport with, you know, you do need to build communications and relationships with individuals that don't look like you as well.
Sure.
Because that's what the real world looks like.
You know, and you know, for many of us who were first generation education, sort of exposed to education, because there was nothing else to do, myself included, there's no real sense that you're going to make it ever.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no expectation that you're going to make it. Other people may come in with the expectation that they're going to make it because others have gone before them and made it. But many of these students have nobody in their family who has had any success in education. And so it's really important to sort of tell them, first of all, that you can make it, you can be successful. But I think building in the modules that you establish in the Center for Academic Success and sort of getting those short, quick successes inspires confidence in the students to continue on.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think it also starts with matching, you know, their learning style with the teaching style, you know. as instructors, I have to understand that this particular population, because of their experience and because of their ethnicity and their background, they learn completely different. They process things completely different. They see things completely different through a different perspective and lens through most, typical, mainstream, individuals see things through. And so because I come to the table with that experience, I know how to shape the curriculum and I know how to shape the material to get them to understand it at their level and then move them to the next level so that they can begin to do process analysis.
Yeah, because one of the things that can be overwhelming is the kind of the complete, do I have to know every single thing in
Exactly.
here? How do I parse out what's really important and what's not? And if it's all new, then it's as confusing as if there's nothing there. And really important, just sort of to finish on this point, you really have a fraternity of learners. I mean, you're really building on the foundation of brotherhood and the strength of that bond within the African American community, which is very strong. And that is another sort of building block in terms of guaranteeing success for you.
Most definitely. Research basically shows that when you bring individuals together and they have a sense of family, and that's actually where fraternities and sororities actually have been birthed and origined out of, is that providing a sense of family and community to individuals that didn't necessarily have it coming in. And so you see this even with a lot of Greek and a lot of black fraternities, is that individuals join those organizations because they need that. They need that support. They need to be connected and they need a sense of brother or sisterhood. And when they have that, they can excel and exceed at a much faster rate than they would if they did not.
Well, I think the best testimonial we can give is the words of the students themselves, and so we'll finish this segment with a short video here, sort of showing some of our Together We Achieve participants, describing and talking about their experiences. Thank you both for being here today. This was a really wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having us.
That's it for this edition of Parkland Report. We'll finish now with a brief video demonstrating the success of the Together We Achieve program. See you back here next time.
Together We Achieve is basically a program for brothers like myself, where we stay together, stick together, and we have the same classes. We take classes that will help us go into the next level. Last year, I know personally for me, we had about close to 17 brothers in our class, 17 students, and we basically just stuck together to the end.
We basically take the same classes and at the same time form this bond, which was pretty weird because I never thought like I would be the type of guy that will hang out with dudes all the time. But we grew a family doing this experience.
It's a program where you can basically stay on track. You have a lot of help. Teachers, they stay with you, they stick with you. As counselors, whatever you want to call them, family.
If I wasn't a TWA, I'd probably be still the lonely person that I am. Like, I like to spend time by myself, and I'll probably be just flipping around majors. Probably having like really nobody to lean on besides myself. If I wasn't in TWA, it would be hard to track down or search for people that actually want to push you into greatness or where you're trying to go. It's always good to have somebody behind your back 100%. With this experience of TWA, it made me understand that asking for help and also being around people such as myself is okay. You don't necessarily have to put yourself in a cave to strive for greatness. You can find people like you and just try to work on the ultimate goal that y'all all have in common. It helped me a lot because coming to college, it was kind of scary for me because it's a big transition from high school. So it helped a lot having teachers that actually care about you and look out for you, make sure that you're succeeding in every class. That's a great experience to be involved in. If you get around a positive group of guys, y'all can go so far. At high school, like myself, I was like an average student C's, and I knew I can do better. And being in this group, it formed like competition, it formed encouragement, and my first year here, my GPA was a 3.75.